All right, let's jump right in. We're going to explore one of the biggest challenges and, honestly, one of the greatest opportunities on the African continent today, education. And we're going to see how new technology is trying to completely reshape the future for millions of young people.
So, right out of the gate, you see the two sides of the coin. On one hand, you have this unbelievable opportunity, a continent that is just incredibly young, bursting with attention. But on the other hand, you got this massive challenge, educational systems that are really struggling, with high dropout rates and just not enough access to good schools. It's this tension, right, between potential and reality that really sets the stage for everything.
I mean, let's just pause on this number for a second. 70%. That is not just some statistic on a slide, right? It's a demographic goldmine, a massive, untapped resource of human capital that could drive the future for decades. So the big question is, how do you unlock all of that potential?
Well, to answer that, we've got to first understand the hurdles. So let's take a closer look at the actual barriers that are standing in the way for millions of young learners all across the continent.
You know, it really boils down to three big things. For starters, there's just a shortage of quality education and not enough skilled teachers to go around. Second, there are very real economic and logistical problems. I mean, real-life stuff that forces so many students to drop out. And third, there is a huge gap when it comes to learning materials that are actually made for them, in their language, that reflects their culture, and that's personalized to how they learn.
Okay, so that's the problem. A pretty big one. And it just begs the question, right? With challenges this deep, how can technology even begin to bridge a gap that wide? This is the turning point.
And that brings us right to the heart of our story today, a platform called the KeyScola. And it's taking a very modern AI-powered approach to tackle this very old problem.
So what is KeyScola? Well, on paper, it's an AI-powered learning management system. But what it's really about is captured in those three words: accessible, affordable, and adaptable. Each one of those is a direct shot at the barriers we just talked about. All right, so that's the what. Now for the how. How does this technology actually work to solve these problems? It's all built on four main pillars. Let's break them down.
Okay, here they are, the four pillars in action. First, it's personalized. The AI creates a custom-made learning journey for each student, so we're ditching that old one-size-fits-all model. Second, it's multilingual, which is huge, right? It directly tackles that problem of not having content in your own language. Third, and this is an absolute game changer, it works offline. This just bypasses the whole what if the internet is bad or not existent problem. And finally, it makes learning engaging, using things like gamification to keep students hooked, which is absolutely key to fighting those high dropout rates.
So you take these features and you put them all together. What do you get? This is where we zoom out from the tech itself and look at the massive potential impact this could have on an entire continent. And you know what? The timing for something like this couldn't be more perfect. KeyScola isn't just appearing in a vacuum. Smartphone use and internet access are absolutely exploding across Africa. You have governments and NGOs that are more committed than ever to improving education. And of course, you have that massive youth population we keep talking about who are just hungry to learn. It's like the perfect recipe for a real breakthrough.
So what's the big picture goal here? What's the domino effect they're hoping for? Well, first, you directly boost literacy and skills on a massive scale. That in turn fuels economic growth, because now you have a workforce that's ready for the jobs of tomorrow. And by making sure it's accessible for everyone, you're driving inclusivity. You're making sure no one gets left behind.
The vision is clear. The goals are definitely ambitious. So what's the game plan? How does KeyScola actually plan to get from here to there? Let's take a look at their roadmap. It's a step-by-step plan. It all starts with Phase 1, the pilot programs, in places like Ethiopia to test and really perfect the model. Then comes Phase 2, expansion, rolling it out to more countries and integrating more local languages. Phase 3 is crucial, building partnerships with governments and NGOs to deploy it on a massive national scale. And finally, Phase 4 is all about advancement, never standing still, but constantly enhancing the platform with the latest and greatest AI tools. And this really brings us to the core idea, captured perfectly by the founder, Ketis Tekle. She says, this isn't just about software, it's a movement. The goal isn't just to provide a product, but to fundamentally empower both the learners and the educators.
And that really leaves us with this one big, powerful question to consider. This goes way beyond just one company or one app. It's about the ripple effects. I mean, what truly happens to a country,
to a whole continent, when an entire generation is finally given the tools to unlock its own potential. Now that is something worth thinking about.